Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Brian. Today's video, we're going to do some cooking. We're going to make our Christmas meal. I've got a prime rib or standing rib roast. I don't think it's prime. We're going to cook it on a pellet grill. So let's get started with preparing the meat. So we're at our beach house. That's why I'm doing this outside. There's too much activity going on inside. Let's hope the wind noise isn't too bad. So I've had this dry aging in the refrigerator for 4 or 5 days. Now we're just going to cut some of this fat off. You want some, but I'll take a little bit of it off. I've done before is cut down along the ribs. And apparently if you get one at a butcher, not just off the meat rack at the meat store, you can get the butcher to do this for you. So I'm not cutting them all the way off, I'm just making sort of a hinge right there. Next up, we're going to rub it. I just use this Chery prime rib rub, rosemary, garlic. You can make your own rub out of whatever ingredients you want. This looked easy enough. Get the entire thing covered with it. I'm also doing this outside because I always make a mess in the kitchen and never hear the end of it. I almost forgot one key point. To put a little oil, or in this case Worcestershire sauce, on the outside, and it'll help the rub stick, especially since this was dry aged like that. It's pretty dry. Of course I forgot on this part, so we'll do it backwards. Now this should stick a little better. Put some on here for the dog's part too. Okay, I've got some butcher's twine here, so I figure about 3 pieces of string will do this. Could have cut the string a little longer. Anyway, tie it up in knots. And I was not in the Navy, so my knot tying skills are terrible. So after some struggling, I got that tied up, threw a little more rub on it. Now, we need to let it sit and come up to room temperature for probably another hour or so. It's been out some already. In the meantime, we'll enjoy one of these. I'll take this in the house and let it sit, because being out here is like being in the refrigerator. It's like 30 degrees today. So I have my pellet grill started up and it's starting to do the whole smoke thing. I changed the foil on the bottom You get buildup on that, and sometimes that shit can catch on fire, and really don't want that to happen with this kind of meat. And so we'll let that nasty smoke get out of there to start with. And then we'll crank it up to about 225. All right, sounds like it's burning correctly now. So let's go. We'll start out at 225. If it's gonna take too long, I can bump it up to 250. I've also filled the hopper with some Chery blend pellets. Feel free to use whatever you want, but Chery worked pretty well last time. We'll let that get to temperature, and then we'll bring the meat out. Okay, the grill's been on for about 20 minutes. We're up to temperature. I have the meat in a tray on a rack. And this is the point where you would insert your temperature probes all the way into the middle so you get an accurate reading of the temperature. You know, and you have the wire with the external display. But when you forget that and leave it 300 miles away, you got to kind of do the next best thing. So we'll periodically come back and check the internal temperature on this. We're looking for about 110 for our first step, and then we'll heat the temperature up and sear it at a higher temperature. I'm going to also add a little bit of red wine and a little bit of water to this pan to kind of keep it moist. And that all the drippings will end up in that tray. We'll have au jus later. As cold as it is out here, it's already down to 203. I don't want to open the lid very often. So it's right at 205. And we'll make sure we don't run out of pellets. So we'll come back in about an hour and see what it looks like. So it's been 2 hours and that's what we look like. Let's see what our temperature is internally. We're about 88 degrees. So we'll start monitoring that a little closer. We want to get up to about 110 and then we'll pull it off. And also, we're doing some smoked cream cheese along with it as an appetizer. So we're 3 hours into this. See what our temperature looks like. I did rotate it one time. Kind of hard to exactly judge where the middle is, so I just kind of put the temperature probe in and look for the lowest temperature. So we're like at 107. So I'm going to give this a few more minutes. We'll pull it off. I'm going to crank the grill up to 11, whatever that is, 450 I think on this model. And then we'll cover the meat so it doesn't cool too quickly. And then we'll come back and sear it for about 15 minutes. So it's been about 3 hours and 15 minutes. I think we should be up to about 110 internal. 112. 113. So we'll go ahead and pull this off here. Pardon my hands. Pull our pan off. I'm going to cover this up, take this in the house, throw some towels on it just to keep it warm. We're going to crank this to all she'll do, which is 450. Let it heat to that temperature, and then we'll come back and sear this. Okay, we're up to 450-ish or wide open. Get it back on the grill, and we will sear that. I'll probably flip it over once or twice, but we're going to shoot for like a 425-ish internal temperature. Should be about 15 minutes. So it's about 400. It's kind of struggling with that load on it. I've been in there about 5 minutes. I'm just going to flip it over, kind of char that side a little bit. Give it a few more minutes and then we'll check the temperature. See what our temperature looks like. I think we're probably about where I want to be. We're about 121. And also, when it's this cold outside, it drops the temperature in there like crazy. So we'll give it 1 or 2 more minutes and then we'll take it off. In the meantime, here at the Outer Banks, it's dark pretty early in the winter. And there's not a lot of light pollution. And when there's not clouds, you see a lot of stars. And then there's the moon. It's about 125 internal. Pull it off. Shut down the machine. Close our temperature probe so the battery doesn't go to dead. Okay, after resting for about 45 minutes, here's what we have. Probably in the light. We can go ahead and cut the butcher's twine. See what it looks like. It looks pretty prime rib-like. What I forgot to do, let's go ahead and cut these bones off first, the rest of the way. The dogs are already sitting here waiting for them. So we'll get them out of the way. We'll chew the rest of the meat off that. There we go. Thanks for watching.